Yo, Bap, what up? I'm waiting for Guido to get in here. Guido, what's up, man?
What's good?
What's good, Mr. Guido? My apologies, I was late. All leaving live on a Wednesday, episode 5. What's up, man?
And
Talk to me.
you're texting me in big, bold, capital letters. Be on time today, and then your ass is a half hour late.
Listen, I'm talking about you be on time. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me, all right? I can stroll in whenever time I want to, bro. It's my show. It's my show.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay?
Yeah, whatever.
All right, so let's just jump right into it, man. Game 6, Houston Rockets at Oklahoma City Thunder. Who you got?
Well, it's game 7. Okay, it's
Game
going to be
7,
game
sorry.
7.
Game 7. I got hype. Game 7, do it down.
I'm going to stick with my original pick, and I'm going to take because if you remember, I predicted this series to go 7 games. I thought this series was
Thank
going to
you,
go
Rich.
7.
Thank you, Rich. Yes, I caught myself. Game 7. Thank you. Yeah, Guido.
Yeah, I predicted that this series was going to go 7 games, so I'm going to stick with my pick. I'm going to take Houston,
Wow.
but I think it's going to be by the skin of their teeth.
All right, I need a score. I need a score.
I will go. You know what? I'm going to say it'll be relatively low scoring. Actually, it was really low scoring last night with Utah and Denver, 80-78.
That was an awful game. That was a game that was back in 1997.
It's unbelievable. It was really great. And Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray were averaging like 45 points a game apiece in that series.
Listen, everybody choked up, man. It was game 7. You know, the pressure's a little too high for them. So, you know, I get it.
Yeah. But I will take Houston. I'll take Houston 101-96.
Wow.
I think it'll be really, really close. At the end of the day, Barry, I think it's just going to be like the Rockets have more experienced players that are playing in these high-pressure situations, guys like Robert Covington and P.J. Tucker and Eric Gordon and guys like that, obviously with Harden and Westbrook, who have been there multiple times before.
Right.
I think that's just going to be what it boils down to. Like OKC, like they're young, they're exciting, but like outside of CP3, like you're like SGA is a great player. I love Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but he's so young, so inexperienced. Same thing with somebody like Luguentz Dort and guys like that. Like these are some of the guys that they rely on for a lot of their minutes, and I don't know if I don't know if they're going to be able to, like, I guess muster it up mentally.
Yeah.
To get it done. So I'm gonna take the Rockets in a narrow game.
Okay. Can I play? I'm gonna play the other side of this. I got OKC winning this game, and I got OKC winning this game for a few reasons. The first one is Russell Westbrook has first round yips. He's shown it. He's shown it for the last 3 seasons now. Or 4 seasons, you want to call it? Call it 3 seasons. So he has a tendency of doing a lot of bonehead things when you expect him to play well. Just like in game 6, where he's coming into the game without a game plan. He's playing at 300 miles an hour when he should be really probing and trying to take his time, and he's turning the ball over. He's missing layups. He literally gave Oklahoma City that game. So he has a history of doing this. He has a history of shooting his team out of games. We've seen him do it. So I think that that's what's going to happen tonight. I think that they're going to be pressing. Westbrook is going to be pressing. Harden is also a guy that likes to press. He doesn't really show up in elimination games. He has a history of that too. So you got 2 guys that have a history of not performing well in pressure situations in regards to elimination closeout games. And I don't trust them. I really don't. And the other thing is D'Antoni. D'Antoni does not make adjustments. He is not somebody who's going to make an in-game adjustment if things are going wrong. If they're shooting, if they miss 15 3-pointers in a row, keep shooting them. Keep shooting them. If you miss 30 3-pointers in the game, keep shooting them. Look what he did against Golden State a couple years ago. They missed like the first 25 3-pointers, and they kept shooting.
Yeah.
No adjustments made. This is how we play, and that's it. There's a reason why he has not gotten to the NBA Finals. It's him. It's not his team. It's him. So you have 3 guys that choke under the pressure on the same team. Coach and your 2 stars. Now I got OKC. And the reason why I have OKC as well is that you made the point. They have young guys. They're young. They're exciting. They've never been here before. So they don't know what it's like to choke up, or they're just playing. They're young guys. They have nothing to lose.
They're blessed
if they
with
win,
ignorance.
great. Yeah, exactly. It's young ignorance. So if they lose, hey, it's all right. It's a learning experience for next year. We'll grow. But if they win, they shock the world, right?
No,
So
listen, I don't think that you're way off base. The only thing that I have an issue with Houston, and you did touch on it, and this is the one thing that will kill them, because I'm actually surprised that like their size has not really hindered them that much this game. Like Steven Adams is a solid big man, but he's not somebody that's going to expose you.
Yeah, you
know what I mean?
you can't dump it down to Steven Adams and expect the bucket. He's not one of those guys. Yeah.
No, he's not. So, but the only thing that kills the Rockets, and you and I have talked about this over and over and over again, is that if you could pick a team in the NBA as the poster child of throwing away possessions, taking stupid shots, just like it's the Rockets. That's right. They are the most inefficient team in the league.
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook and James Harden constantly need the ball to be effective.
Right.
And let me tell you this right now. Eric Gordon needs to stop shooting the basketball. He's got to stop shooting the basketball.
Yeah.
Like, he has been absolutely awful in this entire series. But here's the thing, though. The Rockets win. The Rockets can beat anybody in the NBA if Westbrook and Harden are both hot. If they're both hot on the same night, it's over.
It's tough.
Over.
Yeah, it's tough. You know who's been playing well in this series too? If they get a good game out of Robert Covington, they may have a chance to really blow this game open, because when he shoots the ball well, he's a really good defender. If he shoots that ball well, that's another weapon that they have, because they have a lot of good pieces, but they have a lot of streaky pieces, right? Austin Rivers, streaky guy. Eric Gordon, streaky guy. Jeff Green, streaky guy. So all of these guys that they have, but Robert Covington can be that kind of like consistent scorer for them, they got a shot. But I can tell you this, if they win this game, they're going to be sorry that they won the game, because the Lakers are going to put a beating on them that they haven't seen all season. They have no answer for what's coming next round. So they might, want to just take a vacation early, because they're not going to have a shot next round. They're not going to have a shot next round.
You think the Lakers are going to have a tougher time with OKC than they would with Houston?
Yes.
You think so?
All because they don't know what to expect out of Oklahoma City. They're, like I said, you're a young team. You can be able to steal a couple of games when you're a young team like that. Sometimes when a team is the overwhelming favorite, they can kind of fall asleep in game one, just like how you saw in the first round. They fell asleep against one of the hottest teams coming out of the bubble, right? They didn't execute well in that game one. LeBron James, they had a 6-point lead, and they could have ended up putting the hammer down in that game, but something they just could not get clicking. And, Portland ended up going on like a 19-6 run or something like that to end the game. So, that can happen in a game one. But for the longevity of the series, no, they're going to figure it out. But the Rockets, there's just so many question marks with this team. And like every time I look at them, it's like, how are they even this close? Like, I don't even understand how they work. I don't get how it works. They go against everything fundamentally with basketball to me. It's just like, I just don't understand it. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, well, you know this as well as other people do also, but others because basketball's been in your life for so long, like you understand this. Yeah. Like, basketball's all about matchups.
All about
It
matchups.
is all about matchups.
All
So
about matchups.
like I think Houston's the better team than Oklahoma City,
Agreed.
but
Yes.
but OKC matches up better against the Lakers. Now, regardless, I think the Lakers beat whoever wins
Yeah.
Game 7. The Lakers are going to go to the Western Conference Finals. I don't think
Yeah.
that's a question
Yeah.
in my mind.
Yeah.
But Houston, like I've said, has absolutely no matchup for Anthony Davis. They don't have a matchup for LeBron.
No.
Like as good of a defender as PJ Tucker is, as good of a defender as Robert Covington is,
They don't have
LeBron is
it.
still going to drop 30, 10, and 10 on every night.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and Anthony Davis, like PJ Tucker, who plays center for them most nights, PJ Tucker's like 6'5". Like,
Yeah. It's that.
and he's going to have
It's
to go against Anthony Davis, who might be the best overall post player in the league,
Yeah.
and he can dribble. Like
Yeah.
it's just I think it's a bad matchup for Houston, but at least OKC on the other hand, they've got the veteran leadership with CP3, and Steven Adams is a big guy that can at times again if Steven Adams is anything, he's big and strong and he gets in your face. Right? So he'll bother Anthony Davis on occasion. So at least there's some sort of matchup there. Houston doesn't have one. It's all about, are they going to be able to fire off enough threes, and are they going to make a good enough percentage of them to win games? That's Houston's philosophy.
I agree. I agree. Yeah. What do you think about game 1 of the second round between Boston and excuse me, not it's Miami and the Bucks, the Heat and the Bucks? How did you think that game went?
I am telling you, like, this is the same sort of thing that I've been worried about with Milwaukee for, like, there's a level of inconsistency with Milwaukee where, because I'll be honest with you, Chris Middleton did not play poorly.
No, he played well out of anybody. Well.
Yeah. It was Giannis that didn't play well.
Exactly.
So I'm like, it worries me, like, are you ever going to get a game where those two are playing well on the same night? Right. So you can look at this as an encouraging sign of, you know, if Chris Middleton is like breaking out of the shell, right? Is he finally getting out of his head? This is going to be the beginning of him playing well in the playoffs and everything like that. You can look at that as a positive and, you know, brush it off as a bad game for Giannis, whatever. But you can look at that as a positive sign. But here's the biggest takeaway for me. Miami has a hell of a future. That team has direction.
Yes, they
have flat out there, and they're doing it with guys that they didn't even draft. Like Kendrick Nunn and Duncan Robinson were undrafted, and they're two of the best players on their whole team. Like
Duncan Robinson was like top 10 in 3-point shooting in regards to making 3-pointers. He didn't hit 300 threes this year. He was phenomenal.
It's unbelievable. Now, obviously, like, they're going to need another star. And again, I'm going to throw this rumor out there. I wouldn't rule out Giannis leaving Milwaukee to go to Miami. I wouldn't rule that out. But
you know what it is? On my show,
I with Butler and Bam.
Yeah. Listen, it's intriguing. I don't think it works with Jimmy though. I don't think Giannis can work with Jimmy. I just think that
I'm not sure how many players in the NBA can work with Jimmy.
I don't think a lot of players can work with Giannis. It's just his game. The way he plays basketball is very hard to find complementary pieces to put around him. Like you're going to get guys like Chris Middleton more than you're going to get guys like a Bradley Beal. You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna be able to get upper tier stars.
Right.
I remember on my show, I picked the Miami Heat in 6. Because I said I knew that the Heat were they were gonna beat the Pacers. Obviously, everybody knew that the Bucks were gonna beat the Heat.
You got the Heat over the Bucks?
I got the Heat over the Bucks. Yeah.
Wow.
And the reason why is because the Bucks, they showed a little bit of weakness to me in that first round. Now, although they played well in regards to winning the series 4-1, there was a lot of things in that game or in that series that I saw that I did not like. I saw an 8th seed push around this team and stick around. Like they weren't, the Bucks didn't put them away. Even in that clinching game, they were still around.
Right.
And it's like, if you play a team that's actually good, that knows how to frustrates your star. Because it's not that hard to frustrate Giannis. You saw that in game one.
Yeah, surprisingly not.
It's not that hard to frustrate Giannis.
I've thought for at least the past couple of years when Giannis has really been on the scene. Like, Giannis has been good for a couple of years, but he's been this good for, like, this year and last year.
Yeah, 2 years, right.
You've felt like Giannis has always been that guy. He's got the cool head. He doesn't let things get to him. He's a young kid that's got big, broad shoulders. And like, right. You didn't think that anything bothered Giannis. He's kind of opening up now. I wouldn't say he's unraveling, but he's opening up a little bit.
Yeah. What I was shocked is that because Eric Spoelstra, he plays a lot of zone. If you saw in that game, they zoned the Bucks.
And zone in the NBA most of the time is death.
Yes.
If you can't play zone right, it is death.
Exactly. So the fact that Spoelstra knows that we're gonna pack this paint, Giannis, you only have one gear. He doesn't know how to change gears. He's just I'm gonna push you, I'm gonna shove you out of the way, I'm gonna get a dunk. There's no variations to Giannis's game, and Spoelstra knows that.
Yeah.
And with a zone defense, he can be able to contain Giannis, and everybody else is gonna have to now step up. So you're gonna probably see Chris Middleton have a very good series because they're gonna allow him to have a very good series. But Giannis is not gonna kill them. Giannis is gonna have to figure out a way to get effective. He has to get down in that paint and do some damage. He can't think that he's gonna dribble and penetrate and get past everybody. That's not gonna work against this team.
This has been Giannis's problem. I forget who said this too. It was after game one. I forget exactly who said. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Chris Broussard.
Yeah.
And he brought up a really good point. He's like, Giannis. The thing that really killed the Bucks late in the game is when they needed Giannis to take over. Like, everybody and their mother on Miami's side knew what was coming.
Exactly.
Because Giannis only has one way to beat you.
One way to beat you.
Giannis is so physically dominant that he can average 30 points a game and shoot 60% from the field.
Right.
Just doing what he does, just because he's so physically gifted. Right. The guy's 6'11", he's got a 15.5-foot wingspan, and the guy moves like a guard.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's hard to stop in its own right. But when you can stop it, Giannis doesn't have a second move.
No.
Like, that's why I've always said, like, if you had to pick, and I guess this could be a discussion for another day. We don't have to get into this now. But, like, if we had to pick who to build a team around for the next however many years, I would take Doncic over Giannis, only because Luka can beat you in 3, 4, 5 different ways on 3 or 4 or 5 consecutive plays.
And like, Luka is a
step back. He can play ISO. He can drive the lane. Like, he can do so many things. Giannis is just, he's not overly skilled or overly talented. He is so physically dominant with that one move. He doesn't have that secondary attack.
And remember I had said to you like a while ago when we were talking about this, I'm talking about like, probably going back a year. I said Giannis will never be a great shooter because his wingspan is too long.
Yeah, so he's got long arms. He doesn't have to control the ball.
His mechanics are so bad because of his wingspan that he'll never get a consistent shot. And because of that, he's always going to be one-dimensional. It's going to be very hard for him to kind of make that jump to an effective shooter, a mid-range guy or
players like Kevin Durant that shoot with that long arms are just rare.
Exactly, there's very rare, very very rare. What do you think about the Celtics series, man? I'm a little shocked.
Listen, I'm telling you, I told you from the beginning, the Celtics to me are the best team in the East. They just are. They're the best team in the East.
I can't disagree.
Like most people, if you would have asked anybody, right, at the beginning of the playoffs, like, I think most people were saying, oh, the Bucks are just going to run through the East. They're just going to kill everybody. Because that's what they were doing in the regular season. The Bucks were killing everybody in the regular season. Like, I forget exactly what the number was, but I think they were, like, approaching or they broke the record for, like, average, like, points against or something. Like average win differential or something like that. They were beating teams by 20 points a game.
Yeah.
But I'm telling, like, if you want to talk about a team that is like they're just kind of like everything works, right? I don't know what the term is, but with Boston, everything just works. This was not when everybody, when the Celtics got Kyrie Irving a couple of years ago,
It
and
just it
everybody
was a
was
bad
saying
fit.
this is going to be, when they had Al Horford and they had Gordon Hayward when he was earlier on in his career, and they had bringing up all these young guys, right? And Jason Tatum was young, and Jaylen
Yeah,
Brown was turning into something, and
yeah,
like when they had all these guys, everyone was just like, oh man, the Celtics, they're so loaded, and everybody was just like, they're going to win the finals
right,
like a couple of years ago, and they never amounted to anything because Kyrie Irving kind of got in the way. His ego got in the way.
right.
So now you substitute Kyrie Irving with Kemba Walker, and Kemba Walker is much more mellow-headed, way less egotistical. He's not as talented,
Right.
but
Low ego, high character.
Kemba can give you 20 a night.
Oh,
No
yeah,
problem.
100%.
You know what I
100%.
mean? And an efficient 20 a night. He's not a big volume shooter.
No.
So they have so many guys that can play within a system, and like the way that these guys are, they're long, they're athletic, they play hard defense. Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown has to be one of the most like deadly perimeter defense combos in the league that nobody talks about.
100%.
They are
100%.
so athletic and long, and they're physical. Like
Right.
Marcus Smart, and I'm going to say this, and they don't give him enough credit for this. I think Marcus Smart is a better defender than Patrick Beverley. He is so incredibly good.
I'm going to agree with that. I'm going to agree with that.
He's a little bigger. He's a little more athletic.
He's a bigger guy. He has a longer wingspan. He can be able to guard multiple positions. While Patrick Beverley, just because of his will, he's willing to do that, but he's at such a disadvantage. Like Marcus Smart,
6'1". Beverly's only like 6'1". Smart's like 6'4".
He's a legit 6'3 and a half, 6'4". Right. Like Marcus Smart, like it. I always go back and forth to who's the better defender. I think it'd be like between Avery Bradley and Marcus Smart. I really don't know who to pick because Avery Bradley is a phenomenal
Marcus Smart kind of reminds you of Avery Bradley when he was younger. Right?
Yes.
Like when Avery Bradley was playing with Rondo and Ray Allen and KG and like those earlier Celtics teams, right? Like when Avery Bradley was playing with those guys, Avery Bradley had a very Marcus Smart vibe, or the other way around. Marcus Smart has an Avery Bradley vibe where they can pull up and hit a three, and they play hard defense. They're quick, they're dirty, they're just, you know what I mean? They're just kind of scrappy players.
Right.
And here's one more point that I want to bring up about the Celtics, and this is by no means trashing the Bucks or the Raptors, but I've been saying it for a couple of years now. The best coach in the Eastern Conference is Brad Stevens.
100%.
It's Brad Stevens. And Nick Nurse and Mike Budenholzer are great coaches, no questions asked. But Brad Stevens is different. He is that next, in my opinion, he's that next great coach in the league.
He is the next. To me, he has a young Greg Popovich feel to him. Like I agree. He has that type of, because
and players like him.
Yeah, he's a personality in himself. He's a likable guy, you know what I mean? But he's very fiery too. Like he can get up in you, you know what I mean? So I like that about him. I like that about him, man. I've always liked him from the time.
Somebody was telling the story. I think it was like somebody was talking to Danny Ainge, right? And I think like they had gone to a college basketball game with Danny Ainge, and Danny Ainge tells whoever was telling the story. I forget who it was. It was a Duke Butler game, right? So Krzyzewski and Brad Stevens, and Danny Ainge says, "We are watching the best coach in college basketball right now."
100%.
And the guy said, "Who? Coach K?" And he said, "No, that young kid."
Yep.
Like that was like. Brad Stevens was brilliant years ago, and that's what he is now.
I was impressed with him when he was at Butler, and I remember that national championship game, and I was like, yo, these guys, they're not that talented, but this coach has them feeling like they're the best team in the world. And they did not back down from that Duke team, man. And I was like, I'm gonna watch out for Butler. Like, you know,
They,
and
they got to give that
they were
guy
really
a
good, man.
long contract.
Well, listen, and how, you know, the way you mentioned it in regards to the best coaches in the Eastern Conference, you got Stevens, you got Nick Nurse, you got Budenholzer. Like, that is the actual ranking, because Budenholzer, he's a great regular season coach. He knows how to get his teams prepared in regards to getting guys to buy into their roles. He's
And he's
very
done
good
so
at it.
much with so little. When he was
Yeah,
in Atlanta
exactly.
and he was doing like 4 out of the 5 starters of that starting lineup made the All-Star team that year.
Yes, yes.
When
They
Atlanta was the
listen.
best team in the East.
They were
Corver,
doing it. They were.
Teague, Millsap, and Horford all made the All-Star team
Yeah,
that one
yeah.
year.
But there's just something about him when it comes to postseason, is that it's like he freezes up. It's like he, you know, there's coaches that feel the game, and then there's
Yeah.
coaches that overanalyze and put too much analytics into certain things. Budenholzer is he's an overthinker, overanalyst type of guy. Like, that's him.
Right.
And
Right.
instead of just saying, listen, I understand how this works, or I gotta ride the wave with this guy, he ends up saying, well, I gotta crunch the numbers. Like, no, go with your guys. Go with your guys. And he ends up, they're gonna lose this series because of that. Spoelstra is a better coach, and
You
you're gonna see.
think Spo's a better coach than Coach Bud?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Huh. See, I don't know. I don't think I would go as far to say the Bucks are going to lose the series. I still think the Bucks are going to win the series.
It's your birthday today?
Yeah, you didn't know that? Well, listen, I'm not going to be that guy that says, hey, wish me a happy birthday. It's my birthday today.
You don't need to say that. Listen, I have a bad memory, okay? It's very bad.
Well, all right. Put it in your phone and so you don't forget. So I don't have
Happy birthday, man. See, we doing the episode on your birthday. I'm going to give you a few wins today because of that, man.
Well, thank you.
What
Thank
are you, 30
you.
now?
I never get those. I never get those. My pee-wee brain can't handle the intellectual overload that Barrington Grant gives me.
Yeah, listen, it's tough having this brain, okay? It's tough.
Thank you to the people in the comment section that are wishing me a happy birthday. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
But
so
I wouldn't go as far to say the Bucks are going to lose the series, but I think that the Bucks, because I still think the Bucks are the better team. I just, like, when it comes down to, like, I don't think that the Heat are going to be able to stop Giannis consistently. I just don't.
Oh, maybe they don't have to. I think, you know what will stop Giannis?
I mean, maybe. I mean, that would, but it's one thing for Giannis to get into his own head and not play well. It's another thing for the Heat to be able to take advantage of that. Right. You know, like, if the Heat don't take advantage of the mental lapses, because they don't know how many Giannis is gonna have. Yeah. If they don't take advantage of those and they just let him go by the wayside, they miss a couple of open shots. They turn the ball over a couple of times on key possessions. Like, that's going to be the killer for Miami. Miami's not talented enough to do that.
I can tell you one thing, though. I can tell you one thing. If Giannis wants to put his stamp on this series,
thank you. Thank you to to whoever that is in the comments. You can remember every stat in the world. You can't remember my damn birthday. There you go. I like that.
Phil, that is 100% true, bro. That is 100% true. I can't remember anybody's birthday. So, Mike, trust me, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. I don't remember Phil's birthday. Every year I don't remember his birthday. But yeah, like, if Giannis wants to put his stamp on this series, he has to guard Jimmy Butler. He has to. Like, he cannot go away from that. He can't. He really can't. He really can't. Like, right. I was shocked that Giannis did not take the opportunity to try to lock him down in that game. I was really shocked. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. Listen, I think it's the Eastern Conference series are going to be really good. Boston and Toronto, I think, is going to be a good series. Even though, again, Boston's up 2-0 now, right? They're up 2-0.
And I don't see Toronto getting out of that, man.
I don't either. I mean, like Toronto has a really talented roster of their own, like, of their own guys, right? A lot of those guys they didn't bring in, like Ibaka and Gasol and guys like that, the young guys that, or not the young, the veteran guys that they've kind of brought into that roster. But Kyle Lowry's been there for years. They drafted Siakam. Like I remember the story of Siakam. You remember when in that draft, I forget what year it was like 15 or 16, I forget exactly. But when Pascal Siakam got drafted, everybody's just like, what on God's green earth are the Raptors doing taking Pascal Siakam over Deontay Davis? You remember that? When Deontay Davis was playing at Michigan State, Deontay Davis was supposed to go top 10, and he fell all the way to the second round. You could see it on his face. He was so pissed.
I had no idea who the hell
Pascal Siakam. Who the hell is that kid?
Like, I had no idea who the fuck he was. I was like, who is this dude? Like, we had to turn to Fran Fraschilla. Like, all right, Fran, explain who the fuck Pascal Siakam is, because we have no idea. It was
another version of Bruno Caboclo. Bruno, the classic Fran Fraschilla line, he's 2 years away from being 2 years away. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But anyway.
All right, let's switch gears. Kirk Cousins.
No, that's my guy right there.
I know he's going to be a guy.
That's my guy. Listen, right now, Kirk Cousins is my spirit animal. I'm telling you.
Why is that? Because he's ignorant?
No, not because hey, listen. No, it's not because he's ignorant. It's because, and if you've ever, I still find this funny. If I saw this weekend, if you look at Kirk Cousins' Pro Football Reference page, it's not a picture of him, it's a picture of his shoulder pad. It's funny. It's just like something there. But listen, what did he say? If I die, I die, or something like that.
You're the quarterback, bro. You can't say ignorant, dumb shit like that.
Here's the reason I don't like it. Okay, I'll give you the reason I don't like it first. Okay, the reason that I don't like it is that it has nothing to do with football. Kirk Cousins has kids, right? He's got a wife and he's got kids, right? I'm sure that his family didn't take that literally, but it's still like, all right, listen, Kirk, you got to care a little bit, right? You got a family to raise. You got people to take care of. Like, you can't be that brash. But the reason that I do like it is because what Kirk Cousins is showing me is a fire that he hasn't shown me in a while, right? If I die, I die. That means this guy wants to play football more than anybody else in the entire league. I love this. I love it. I absolutely love it. Listen, we could break this down as if, like, oh, it's ignorant to say that amidst the coronavirus and all of that stuff. Like, we can break that down and analyze that as much as we want, and have this big coronavirus conversation. I'm not interested in that. Okay, I don't really give a crap. I think everybody at this point is kind of doing themselves now. Right, like with the coronavirus, if you don't feel comfortable going out, you're not going out. If you do, you are. Like, that's all right, the thing. If Kirk Cousins feels that way, that's fine. I love the fact that he's not saying, well, I mean, I don't really know if it's safe. I really hope that it's safe. I think that, we should be social distancing and wearing face coverings in practice and during games. And I'm like, this guy wants to get down and dirty on a football field this year. I love that. I absolutely love it.
All of that is cool, but let's play the other side of it. You're the quarterback. You're supposed to be fucking vanilla. That's your job. Your job is to be vanilla. Every great quarterback is vanilla. That's just the way it is. If you feel like this in the locker room and everybody knows what your stance is, cool. But to say this and to be the leader of your team, you're sending a bad message, because guess what it has to do now? Everybody else has to now talk about you instead of talking about the Vikings. They're not talking about the football team anymore. They're not talking about.
They're talking about Kirk Cousins anyway.
Well,
right?
Listen, instead of them talking about the team,
nobody cares about what Anthony Barr did today.
They gotta talk about Kirk Cousins' bum ass. And guess who's the dummy of the week on my show on Friday? Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins.
I agree with some of your dummies of the week. I don't agree with all of them.
You should agree with all of them, okay?
I don't. Yeah, but I don't. That's
of course, because you don't always agree with me with everything.
No.
All right then. So the fact that you don't, maybe you should be my dummy of the week for next week.
Yeah. I will make the list one day.
Oh no,
make the
you're
glorified.
definitely
You're
listen.
gonna have a dummy of the week. You're gonna have a dummy of the week bracket like after every year. You're gonna have like a March Madness bracket of like all the dummies
Yep,
of the week,
yep,
and you're gonna say who's the dummy of the year. That's what
yep.
you're gonna say.
Exactly. That's
Man,
exactly what I'm
I'm
gonna
coming up
have.
with content for your show, man. You should pay me for this garbage. No,
Look,
no, but in all seriousness,
yeah,
if we really want to talk about this, right? Like, I agree with you. I agree with you for the most part. Where like most quarterbacks that are great in the league are quiet. They don't make
yeah,
noise. They're kind of boring, right? Like we used to say this about Andrew Luck before he retired. Andrew Luck was so like Andrew Luck was so boring that people would make jokes that he didn't even have an iPhone yet or something like that. He was so boring. He was so like just away from everything. Like, but
yeah,
that's kind of what you want in a quarterback.
yeah.
Kirk Cousins has been that for years.
Nah, you're
Right?
right.
Like Kirk Cousins
You're right.
for his whole career, that's who Kirk Cousins has been ever since he got
Right.
drafted in 2012. Right? He's been just kind of doesn't get in anybody's way.
Yeah.
But the one thing I appreciate about Kirk Cousins, and it's never been overly vocalized because he struggles in the big game and everything like that. So people kind of push it to the wayside. But Kirk Cousins has always been a phenomenal leader of a football team. He
Nah,
really
I
has.
agree with you.
He's been kind of a guy that he might be the awkward guy that you don't really want to hang out with. He isn't the coolest quarterback in the league or anything like that, but he knows how to fire up his teammates. You know what I mean? Like he's a fiery guy with a fiery personality.
You know
I
what it
don't
is?
view this as his teammates needing to answer questions for him because I'm sure his teammates are maybe not in the same words, but they're in the same boat.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
yeah, man, let's go. Like they're kind of I think a lot of his teammates are kind of glad that he's this hype. You know what I mean? Like I like that. I like that this is coming out of
You
Kirk
know what?
Cousins. He's
Like
being a little vocal.
I see your point because you know what it is with Kirk Cousins is that he wasn't highly drafted. He wasn't appreciated when he was with the Washington Redskins. He feels like the middle child that has to like lash out and get attention sometimes. You know what I mean? Because it's like, hey,
Oh, yeah.
I'm here. I'm the quarterback that actually signed the first fully guaranteed deal, and I did it again. I'm winning over here, so I feel that I have this platform that I can be able to say whatever I want. Like I am supposed to be in the conversation of good quarterbacks in the league, and
Right.
for some reason he still doesn't get that credit. Why? Because he ends up choking
It's the
in
big game.
situations where,
Yeah, it's the big game. But
Yeah.
I agree with you. Kirk Cousins should be, and he should have always been.
yeah,
Kirk Cousins should have always been in that top 15
100%,
quarterback in the league, right? Because again, now do I think he's top 10? No, but
Yeah.
like if you just like look at his numbers, right? So like his numbers last year, he had a 69% completion percentage. That's
Phenomenal.
incredible, right?
Phenomenal.
26 touchdowns and 6 picks.
He
Like,
had a great year. Great year.
Those are Pro Bowl caliber numbers. And he got 3,600 yards. So it's not like this was a small sample size, but he's been doing this for the overwhelming majority of his career, right? He hasn't been crazy about turnovers. He's a double-digit interception guy most years, but it doesn't usually get to 15 or 16 picks, which is when it gets worrisome. But he's always been accurate, like 69.8, 67, 64, 70 2 years ago, 69 last year. Like
it was never a thing that he could not, like when you look at his numbers comparable of like other quarterbacks, you're like, man, why do people not talk about Kirk Cousins more? Because his numbers are phenomenal. Every year he puts up without.
Kirk Cousins and Matt Stafford
are very
kind of in the same. Because Matt Stafford has been in the league for, I think, 11 years.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines. And he doesn't have one win where you can say that was incredible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he just doesn't have that big. Like, Kirk Cousins has been successful in his career. Matt Stafford's been successful in his career, just not successful enough.
Bass Michael said Kirk Cousins with no digs may change the numbers.
I disagree. Adam Thielen was the best wide receiver on that team. It wasn't Stephon Diggs. But, he still has Adam Thielen, and they drafted Justin Jefferson in the first round.
I think Justin Jefferson is going to have.
I don't think it's going to be that much of a drop because
huge.
Stephon Diggs did not have a good year last year.
No,
he did not have a good year.
He was very boomer bust. Like, it was one game where he'll get 190, and then another game he'll get 5 catches for 35 yards. Yeah. So, you know, it was always an ebb and flow, up and down type of thing. And I think both guys will benefit. Thielen will benefit without Diggs. Diggs will benefit without Thielen because now Diggs is the #1 in Buffalo. I think it's a great situation over there. They got a lot of speedsters. It's going to be a better situation for him to be able to get exactly the target share that he needs. You know what I mean? And same thing with Thielen. When Thielen is the guy, he's the guy. Like, you don't have to worry about him, you know, having a lackluster game. He can carry you. He can carry you for a football game.
Adam Thielen is safe for almost like 8 or 9 catches a game.
100%.
Like he is one of the best possession receivers in the league.
Yeah, 100%.
And again, he doesn't get talked about that much, right? It's all Michael Thomas and guys like that who, you know, again, Michael Thomas was unbelievable last year, but Adam Thielen has been an extremely reliable guy for a couple of years now.
100%. What do you think about the Alvin Kamara situation?
Well, so the story with him is that he was at camp and then he kind of left camp, and then the Saints rumor came out where they were open to trading him, and then later today, I think it was today or yesterday, that they were getting close to a deal and everything like that. Like, listen, I don't know if it's just me, but I absolutely hate the way that some players try to get their money. I hate it.
So you're putting this on Kamara?
A little bit, yeah. I am. Because think about it. Like, Kamara's got, how many years he got? Alvin Kamara has 2 years left on his contract. This is the same as what Zeke did. Right? I didn't like what Zeke did back then. Alvin Kamara's got 2 years left on his contract, and he's already asking for more money.
But the reports had said that it wasn't his representatives that leaked anything to the media. He said that he's been in the building, he had the epidural shot for his back, and he had to be out a few days. He never was going to think about holding out. He never thought about kind of putting a position or some pressure on the Saints. What I'm hearing is that the Saints are the ones that kind of put this out there to pigeonhole him into signing whatever contract they have for him. So it's a little bit of, I think the Saints have a number. I think Kamara and his representatives, or more his representatives, are like, we don't like that number. Our numbers, we need our numbers to be more like a little bit in Christian McCaffrey's range.
Yeah, but that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. I'm not saying that he deserves that type of money.
Thing is so dumb.
Think about it.
So dumb.
But Mike, listen, think about it. Kamara, he's not going to get McCaffrey money. We can both agree with that.
No, and he shouldn't.
But look what Joe Mixon just got.
Joe Mixon got $12 million a year.
Right. So that means that Kamara deserves at least $14 million a year, or at least 13. Kamara is if it wasn't for Kamara, the Saints would not be as dynamic as they are. Kamara gave them a different gear. He is the what do you want to call it? Like the ratchet man. He does everything. He can catch.
But you can make the argument that Kamara is not a lead back. I mean, Kamara is immensely talented, but between the tackles, Alvin Kamara has never been dominant.
He hasn't proven that.
3 years that he's been
right.
Well, that's the thing. Like last year, like what is on an average year? What does like a bell cow running back get? Like on average, like how many carries? Like he'll usually get
200, like call it 225.
Between 250 and 300, around there, right? That's what like a bell cow, like real highly paid running back gets. Like that's what Zeke gets. That's what Derrick Henry gets. Like that's what those guys get, right? Alvin Kamara had 171 carries last year. He had 171 carries.
Played 14 games.
Like it's just and listen, I like Kamara, I really do, but running backs in this league now, we all understand this, right? Running backs are so replaceable. They're so replaceable. So what do you do when you're replaceable in any business. You kiss ass, right? Like, you try to make sure that they don't replace you. So
But they
if
can't
I'm Alvin
replace him.
Kamara,
They
I'm saying
can't replace him.
I'm busting my ass in practice. I am doing everything I can to get better, and I am making them quiver if they don't want to pay me. If they don't want to pay me, then I'll go somewhere else and get paid. Somebody in the league will pay me.
But that's the thing, Mike. How many backs can you honestly say right now are as dynamic as Alvin Kamara in the NFL? There's not many. There's not many. So the fact that he's not, I'm going to compare Kamara to, I remember after McCaffrey's first year, right? We had questions about, can he run between the tackles? He's a little small. He can catch the ball. He's very talented, but can he be an every down back? And what did he do?
And what did he do? He absolutely can.
He put on the pounds, he put on the muscle, and he proved that he can do it.
287 carries last year.
Alvin Kamara needs to be able to do the same thing. He has to put on muscle, and he has to show the Saints that he's durable. I think if he does that this year, I think the Saints will have no problem paying him. So I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that the Saints are kind of devaluing their biggest weapon right now.
Are they? That's the thing. Are they? Are they devaluing Kamara by not extending him with 2 years left on his contract? Right?
Well, no, they don't have to. They don't have to, but
that's what I mean. Is like, how does Alvin Kamara know that the Saints weren't planning on paying him all along? Like,
well, that's what I'm hearing. That's the reports that I'm hearing is that he's never complained about getting a contract. It's never been his thing. He showed up to camp. He had his epidural shot. He's been there. He's never made us think about it. But it's very, very suspect when you see a guy like Joe Mixon. And listen, we all know that you shouldn't be watching somebody else's contract and saying, okay, well, that's what I need. Like, I'm better than that guy. But it's very, very telling that a franchise like that is willing to give Joe Mixon that much money when the Saints gave Jameis Winston, how much is he making this year? $9 million or something like that? $7 million?
Something like that, yeah.
How much is the other quarterback? What's his name? Please tell me. Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill just got a new contract. So you're giving these guys all of this money, but your big target, your big dynamic player is still waiting in the wings for a deal? That to me is just a little suspect. I don't like that. I don't like that because he's never been a guy.
He waits one more year, right? They don't ever have to let him hit free agency. That's the thing. But he's got one more year left on his rookie deal, and then he's got another year on the fifth-year option. Or, no, he doesn't even get a fifth-year option. He's got 1 year. So he's got one more year.
And then
so that's my mistake. He doesn't have 2 years left on his contract. He's got 1 year.
That's 1 year. Right? 1 year.
Okay, so, but again, right, if I'm Alvin Kamara, and this is the way that I've said this about running backs, or not even just running backs, but players in the NFL, right? Like, if you hold out for a new contract, the only thing that tells me is that the only thing you care about is yourself. That's the only thing. That's what that tells me, right? Because you can negotiate a contract, right? You can get on the phone with your agent, and between 3 o'clock in the afternoon to midnight, you could be on the phone with the front office for 9 hours straight trying to negotiate your contract. But from whatever it is, 7 or 8 a.m. in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you go through your film sessions, you go through your walkthroughs, you go through your drills and your practice and all of those things with the rest of your teammates, right? Like, there is always room to negotiate your contract. Just because you're showing up to practice does not mean that the team has leverage. You're showing the team why they need to pay you and why it'll hurt that when you go somewhere else.
But I get you, but he's been doing that is what I'm saying. Like, I don't know where the reports have kind of like swayed to make it seem like he's not showing up. He's been there. He's been there. This is what I'm saying. I think the Saints are trying.
Listen, I agree.
Yeah,
but he isn't the one that determines whether or not or when he deserves to get his contract, right?
I mean,
like anything in life, right? But you, me, whatever, anybody out there, right? Anything in life. If you've been at a job for 3 years, you've been at a job for 3-4 years, you're busting your ass, you know, you've made the company money, you've done all these things, and you go up to the owner or the owner or the president or something like that, and you say, hey, listen, I've been working hard for this company for years now.
Look at that. Look at that comment right there. Look at that comment, Guido.
Is for you, but that's not I don't find that a real argument. There are thousands upon thousands of players that go in and out of the NFL. Alvin Kamara's career is not going to be 4 years, right? Like,
but this is his last big deal.
How do you know?
Because he's a running back. You only get one big deal as a running back. You have to cash out as quick as you can to get as much money as you can. Because we all know when a running back
out as fast as you can. Of course not.
When a running back gets about 27, 28, 29, there's not going to be another secondary contract where you get a 3 or 4 year deal. That's over with. You're going to start getting.
If you're still producing, you will. If you're still producing,
you're never going to get another deal that's going to give you $7, $8 million a year. You're going to be making 4, 4.5, 3.5. It all depends on what the team has. Minimum veteran salary. That's what you get. So these running backs, I understand why they're putting pressure on their franchises now, because they're at the height of their careers. They might not be any better than what they are right now. So they got to cash out right now. And for the Saints, I don't.
But that's telling, isn't it? Like that's telling, because if Alvin Kamara, let's just say this, and I'm just kind of using him as an example, is if Alvin Kamara doesn't get paid, right? He doesn't get paid this year. He plays this year under his rookie deal, and he absolutely stinks, then the Saints were right to not pay him. Like, that's the point. Is like yeah, you have to keep. This is what sports is all about, right? You have to keep proving yourself, and if you prove yourself for long enough, then you deserve the big contract.
Okay, so here's the big money question, Mike. Mm-hmm. If Alvin Kamara is not here this season, if he doesn't play, are the Saints still the same team? Are they still the same favorite in the NFC? They're not. They can't.
No, they're probably still a playoff team.
All right, then. So You're right. So he's already proven his value. If he removes himself from this team, they are going to struggle and struggle mightily.
Right. But if they're paying him for 1 year, that's not a big deal. But these contracts are not 1 year deals. Alvin Kamara has to be able to prove to you, right, that he's going to fulfill his contract.
Has he not done that already?
No, it's not, because he's got to play out his deal. He's under contract. Listen, I get that this whole thing that you got to get your money when you can. I understand that. And if the team is willing to give you that money, I am not going to bash him for it. And I'm not going to bash Alvin Kamara if he's negotiating his contract the way you should. But I don't like it. I don't like the method in which players try to get their money. Because if that's like, if the Saints don't pay you, and you could love it in New Orleans, right? He could love it in New Orleans. But if let's just say this, right? If the Saints don't pay him, somebody else will. All right, and somebody brought up a good point, right? They could franchise tag him for 2 more years. So the original franchise tag is going to be about $13 or $14 million, and then if they do it another year, it's going to cost them like 18 or 19, and it's going to be as much as the guaranteed money in his contract anyway.
Which means that
it's supposed to help players, not hurt them.
Which means that you're going to be able, you should sign them, because it's going to be more cap friendly to you without the tag. The tag is not cap friendly.
Exactly.
So
that's my point.
Lock them up now so you can get those additional
deals. I agree. Long-term deals are safer than the franchise tag. I don't disagree with you. But what I'm saying is that it is not Alvin Kamara's. It is not up to Alvin Kamara to determine when he deserves to get paid. It is up to the team. So until that point, when it is time for you to get paid, because it isn't time for him to get paid yet, when it's time for him to get paid, then negotiate his contract, go through this again, because if you sit out, right? If you're any NFL player, you sit out and you become a distraction in the locker room, then you're just proving why they shouldn't pay you. Okay? Be the glue guy. Be the guy that they can't lose.
Well, okay? Yeah, that's what happened with Melvin Gordon last year.
They can overpay even if you're not producing.
Yeah, that was the Melvin Gordon issue last year. Like, he held out, and everybody's like, well,
and nobody wanted him. And honestly, it could destroy his career, because I don't even know if he's going to get his due in Denver, because Denver's got backs. Denver's got guys.
You got Lindsey.
They got Lindsey. They got Royce Freeman. They got players.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. I'm a little skeptical on Alvin Kamara a little bit, but he's a great player. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying, these methods that running backs take are not. I'm not a huge fan of.
Interesting.
I'm sweating. I don't know, man.
You over there sweating bullets, man.
My studio gets hot.
Oh man.
How much time we got left, Bear?
I think we got a couple minutes left, man.
Couple minutes.
Yeah.
Where's Leonard Fournette going?
Bears.
Yeah, you think so?
Bears. Yeah,
you don't think they like David Montgomery?
It's not the fact that they don't like David Montgomery, but he's hurt. I think he's going to be hurt for like the first 4 weeks of the season. So it's good to have a guy like Fournette come in. And also, think about it. Tariq Cohen, he's good, but he's not somebody that needs to.
He's a gadget guy.
Yeah, he's a third down back. He's a guy that can be used like Chris Thompson. You can use him in so many different ways. But if you have a combination of Leonard Fournette and David Montgomery, that's a hell of a backcourt. That's a hell of a backfield. That's
who should sign him? You know who, honestly, they should have been on the phone the day he got released.
Bucks?
The Bucks.
Yeah.
The Buccaneers.
Those were the two teams that I said. I said the Bucks and the Bears are the teams that should be looking at him. But I think the Bucks have already come out and said that they're not going to pursue him. I think that they're all in on Ronald Jones this year. I really think that they're all in on Ronald Jones this year. And the fact that, McCoy in a secondary role, I think can be really, really good. Like if he's not getting a lot of carries and there's not a lot of this, yeah, he's old, but he can still catch the ball. He's still pretty dynamic. They're not going to ask a ton of him. But
they have that rookie, Keyshawn Vaughn, who they like. But again, It's just like Leonard Fournette gets a lot of crap that I don't understand. He's a legitimate running back in this league.
Oh yeah, he's just not a high character guy. He's a bonehead.
He's a high, listen, I'll say this too, because Leonard Fournette's great, but and you're right, he has had his fair share of things that not a lot of people like, but like when you come from a situation like Jacksonville, like you go to Jacksonville to have your career die. Like that's the reality of that. So I don't know. I think I was thinking about this. I think Miami would be a great spot for him. I think that Chicago, like you said, would be a great spot for him. Yeah. Tampa Bay would be great. Like he's got options. There should be plenty of places for him to go.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think I just think the Bears have the best situation. I really do. I think that the Bears with that offense, and they may struggle passing the ball this year. They really may struggle passing the ball this year. With a guy like Leonard Fournette, it makes the play action that much better. It makes them actually a team that you have to worry about, because Leonard Fournette can carry you in the game. He can go for 250 yards. He's done it last season. He's a guy that can carry you for a few games, man. So there's talent there. I don't think that anybody should give up on him. But a team like the Bears, they definitely need to strike while the iron's hot, man. He may end up saving their season, because I had the Bears winning 6 games this year. I think they're going 6-10. I think with Leonard Fournette,
even with him,
with Leonard Fournette, they may go. They can possibly have a chance to go 8-8. They got a chance.
They're not good, man. They're not good. That defense is still all right, but they can't score points ever.
Yeah.
They just can't.
Yeah. That's the problem. And they really have a hard time of scoring, man. They really have a hard time.
Yeah.
All right. So you said final score tonight was what?
101 to 96.
101-96 Houston.
Yeah.
All right. I got 115-105 OKC.
Okay.
So we're gonna see if I hit this on the head, Mike. I'm gonna call you. We can wager. What you want to put on it?
I don't know, $20.
All right, $20. I got you. All
All
right,
right.
man, we got 5 seconds. I'll talk
All
to
right.
you, man.
Later.